every single day in the chapel, I believe from 3:15 till 4:15. Go to confession. And you may think, well, I don't know, that could be awkward. You know, what if I tell the priest what I did? It's like, well, that's the point. I mean, it's not like you invented a sin he's going to call the Vatican. I've never heard of this one before. Go. And look, I know it can be awkward. I mean, talk about awkward. I had a friend in college, my roommate, and I came back one day from class, and he's sitting on the couch. He's watching TV. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I go upstairs, come back an hour later. He's still watching TV. I go to the gym. I come back. He's still watching TV. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's Italian. It was World Cup, and they watch TV for like 9 days in a row or whatever that is. And I said to him, I said, look, you know, come on, get up. Let's go do something. You're being idle. Just get up. And he didn't understand English real great. And so he's like, idol? Like, this is an idol? Like, I'm worshiping idol here? You know, I'm like, no, like idol means like kind of sitting around and stuff. And he thought about it. I said, but I guess you could say it's kind of like an idol if you're spending that much time. And he thought about it and was a little convicted, and he went to confession. Now, keep in mind, he's from Italy, pretty thick accent. The priest in the confessional was elderly and quite hard of hearing. And you'll notice the word idolatry sounds remarkably close to another word, adultery. Okay. And so he walks in, dear Father, forgive me, Father, it's been about a month since my last confession, you know, struggling with this and that, and, you know, a little adultery. Huh? The priest said, what? Yeah, a little adultery, you know, and I come home from school kind of, you know, for a couple hours afterwards. The priest said, what? Well, yeah, you know, it's not a big deal, just a couple times a week. My roommate walked in, he told me I should try to cut down a little bit. The priest, hey! Priest is yelling at him in confession. You know, they never reconciled the discrepancy until later, but, you know, it could be awkward, but go, get the graces from the sacrament. In fact, I remember going to confession once, and I'd done a lot of bad stuff, and I remember going to this priest, and he was visiting from France, and I thought, oh, sweet, he's from France. I'll never see him again. That's a bad attitude, but it's where I was. So I get in there, you know, forgive me, Father, blah, 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 and he says to me, he says, Jason, he says, for your penance, he says, I want you to tell Jesus that he has a problem. I'm like, what? And he says, I want you to tell Jesus that he has a problem. I go, you want me to tell Jesus that he has a problem? And he's like, oui, yes, and I don't understand. Like, why does Jesus have a problem? And he says, well, you belong to Jesus, no? And I said, well, yeah, I belong to Jesus. And he goes, well, then Jesus has you. You are a big mess. You are a problem. He has you. You are the problem. And I, oh, cool. So, but what a good way to look at our sins. St. Francis de Sales said, have patience with the whole world, but first of all with yourself. Don't be too tough on yourself. Just go get those graces. And don't just go to confession. Have a great confession. Like I heard one priest said, he said, look, don't get your rosary in, get into your rosary to give yourself more.